Good morning on this late summer day, August 28th, 2021, from southern Ontario. Here's another garden update. Now, if we look on the left here, we can see Staghorn Sumac. It's already about 2 meters high, but at the beginning of the growing season, it was not even knee-high. So that may be one of southern Ontario's fastest growing trees. If we look to the right, there are a ton of goldenrod in bloom. Now the cool thing about these is that, well, they're considered a weed, but I just didn't mow my lawn and they grew like this. But if we look close up, we can see that there are a ton of flies and bees all over, and other pollinators. So these are definitely a valuable source of nectar for insects in the fall. Just so many. We can also hear cicada and crickets in the background, which is pretty nice. Now let's head to the interior of the side garden. You can see all the lush growth. It's like a secret garden. Now let's turn around, and along the wall you'll see the Virginia creeper fruit in bloom. The purple fruit, they're poison, don't eat them. You'll see a lot of black raspberry hanging down. Goldenrod again. Along the fence you'll see 3 ash trees, which have been growing for maybe 5 years, now about 3 meters tall. And if we look over here, my largest Paulownia tomentosa, or empress tree, or kiwi tree, is now about 3 meters tall, and so it should continue to grow really well. Beside it on the right is Tree of Heaven, and so they're about the same height now. Down here we'll see red berries on an asparagus plant. So that's how wild asparagus gets distributed, by birds eating the berries and pooping them out. So that's what happens. That's how asparagus looks if you don't chop them off and eat them, like ferns. And here is another ash tree, which is well taller than all the other baby trees I have. The one that I said grew twice in one growing season. This growing season it only grew once, however. Still quite tall. And more goldenrod, they just grow everywhere here in southern Ontario. And we'll see black raspberry vines all over the place. But you'll also see some big leaves there, and those are actually chayote leaves, or well, yeah, chayote leaves. And that's a warm weather vegetable that will only grow in the summer up here. It'll probably die in the winter, but I don't know. Due to global warming, maybe it'll survive. And in Taiwan, they cut the tender shoots off and they eat it, and then they call it dragon's beard vegetable. Now, it's actually really delicious. It's crispy, it's delicious. So that's actually the whole reason I grew them. And we will be eating them, I guess, maybe next month. But it has been growing pretty crazy. And now let's take a walk through our black raspberry archway here. You'll also notice that Virginia creeper is creeping all over the place as well. And back here the plants are growing really well as well. The potato that had planted here right in front of us in the garden bed seems to have all died, so I don't know what's up with that. The pawpaw are doing really well. If you look here, this is a pawpaw that was a pup from a parent tree, and I thought it was dead, but look at this. I'm happy to say that it has sent out a new shoot from the base and is actually growing. So never give up on your plants. They will amaze you. And if we take a look at over here, there are a bunch of other pawpaws which I grew from seed. They're getting pretty large. An interesting thing here is, if we look back here where it's really shady, right in the middle, there is a mulberry which has grown super tall really fast, probably to get light. And if we look here, we'll see some giant leaves. Those are Paulownia tomentosa, and the roots are actually in the pot on the right, but it had no light, so it grew all the way out here, and it's taking as much light as it can get. Over here, under this, is 2 kiwi trees that I planted from seed. I had basically germinated them in the windowsill and just threw the seeds on top of the dirt, and only 2 survived out of like dozens. But above it, this plant is actually it's goldenberry or gooseberry, which is actually, I believe it's from supermarket gooseberry. So we had some gooseberry from the supermarket, but then we left them in the fridge for too long, so they started getting moldy. I threw them out in the garden for the birds to eat, and eat them they did. So then we have a gooseberry plant there. And if we look up on the shed here, this is a Japanese creeper. It has creeped its way all over the shed, which is really nice. It's very cool, and it was just a wild plant here. And if we look towards the back, the tropical plants are there under the mulberry tree. That big tree is the mulberry tree. And if we turn around and avoid the very dirty shed, at the raised garden bed, we will see cherry tomatoes. And the cherry tomatoes, what happened was I was growing them inside from seed since like April, and then I cut the stems and then I rooted them in water, and then I planted them out here in this garden bed about 2 months ago, and now they're actually starting to fruit, which was really easy and really cool. So I encourage you to grow tomatoes, root them in water, and you will have tomatoes. So let's go over here and let's take a look. Well, the grape vine at the side of the house is going crazy. Well, not going crazy anymore, but it's very robust. But what I wanted to look at was the empress trees, which I germinated on the windowsill, but I put them in a sort of mini greenhouse to germinate further by throwing most of the seeds just on top of the soil, but within a mini greenhouse environment. So as you can see, it's been a very successful growing operation. Unlike the ones where you don't put them in a mini greenhouse, only 2 survived. In this case, as you can see, over a dozen survived. So that's pretty much all for today. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe. I hope Canada and the rest of the world is going to do well. Take care.